Hello, everybody.
Hi, I'm Greg.
You know me, I'm David. Hi. How's everybody doing this fine Sunday morning?
Well, I know I'm okay. I made breakfast.
I woke up at 10:10.
Nice.
No
See,
bad.
I was already cooking bacon and eggs and hash browns at 10:10. So
Oh man, I wish I had a hard time this morning. But you know what? We're here. We got coffee and we're chatting, and it's a lovely Sunday.
it is.
Well, actually, I don't know. Lovely's probably the wrong word because we got snow going on out there, and
Well, it's not ideal outside, no. But
yeah, yeah.
yeah.
But hey, what do you do? So, I think Greg's got some new things to show off to us.
Hey, it's Vince. Hey, Vince. How you doing?
Uh, Vince, welcome. Hi from Quebec, Frenchman. I love it. Welcome. Uh, we're from Alberta, and welcome. Same country though, right? So that means like it's only just afternoon there. That's good.
Yeah. So, what project have you had this week? Anything printing interesting?
Well, kinda. Let me. I'm just gonna flip here. I'll flip and show you what I've started working on. Um, and I'll shut my phone off right now so it stops going. Do 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 do.
Hey, Dominic.
Dominic. Um, So I found a thing on the onlines. Um, oh, your head's really big in this one, but that's okay. That's okay. We're gonna leave it. And it's from Devin Montez. So he does the Make Anything channel.
Yeah.
And it's so I started working on just the color scheme basically, and I'm playing a bit around with some color swapping and just getting everything ready to go. But it's a tiny toy box puzzle.
Cool.
Tiny toy box puzzle. So this is the I got the website up for all of you wonderful folk, but this is what it looks like. And basically, it's a packing puzzle, so all the little pieces have to go inside the box. And again, it's on Make My Mini Factory. And the ID of that one that I'm making is 143389, but it's called Tiny Toy Box by Devin Montez and or Mont. I don't even know how he says his name. I should pay attention. But that's kind of like what we're printing over here. So we had a really good print. Um, my wife wanted pink and clear, so that's the way we're going. But yeah, all the little toys, I'll just flip over here, fit inside of this box. And that's the puzzle. You have to figure out how to get them all in.
Cool.
So, and then it's
See,
compact. So that's kind of like I started working on that. And then I'm designing a few controller moving things in Fusion for my CR10S. Working
nice.
off of yours.
Oh, are you adapting the one I did?
Yeah, because I want to move the 10S from the I think the lac table for now onto my work desk. So then
Ah, gotcha.
it's close. I can feel the love from it. How about you? What you printing?
Um, I was printing benchies on a CR10 Max and ready to throw the CR10 Max through the window.
Hmm. Um,
Yeah.
how did you really feel though?
Well, there was swears being said and whatnot. I finally, once I just abandoned trying to use the screen and reflashed Marlin 2.7.2.
Yeah.
Um, I got it printing pretty good, but trying to make the screen work with Marlin was a little bit nerve wracking, to say the least. Yeah. So, but other than that, I don't have any other big prints that I was working on this week. I was busy with other things and didn't get to it. Played around with some of the new Big Tree Tech screen firmware. Just have a look at some of the new icons that they have and whatnot. And
Yeah.
so
Do you
we'll
want
show
to?
that a little bit later. And
Yeah,
I
for
noticed
sure.
in chat, Vince said he got the IDX
Yeah,
kit for the Ender.
those are
So that's
sick.
that's the IDX is when you have the two
Yep.
um, hot
Independent
ends, right, that can
extruders.
move independently.
Yep.
There's not lots of space on the gantry. That's going to be pretty interesting. Do you have to put a bigger, wider gantry or something on it to make it work? Maybe Vince can let
Ha-
us know.
have you not seen this kit?
I have not seen this kit.
What? So I ran across it a while ago, and I mean it looks cool, and um, for sure, like yeah, yeah, Vince responded back. You mount the bar a little different, and you extend it. So like the X
Which
gantry
makes
does get
sense
extended. Here, I'll just switch screens here really quick. Screen
because
share.
on all the IDX printers I've seen, and David and I have got to play with the what was it? The Is it the Raptor?
Yeah,
What was
Formbot Raptor.
Yeah, and that one's IDX, and so yeah, it's pretty neat.
Yeah, and
SCD 3D is here. Hey,
what up? Good to see y'all. Thanks for coming by, hanging out. So yeah, here's the website for the kit, and again, in no way sponsored or anything. Um, but here's the Ender Extender X-Axis kit. It is not cheap. I'm just gonna hit the buy now because I'm sure it's about the cost of an Ender. Yeah, the kit is 354 US dollars. So it is
is
not
that the one
cheap,
you got, Vince?
but like I've seen this one floating around for a while here, and it works well. People have been giving it positive reviews. Again, I haven't used it, um, but IDX, as Greg mentioned, like we have experience and have used IDX printers. The Formbot, yeah, the big one, Formbot.
Raptor? Is it the
The rat?
Raptor? I can't
No,
remember.
the Raptor's the one that has the single. Um, but now I forget.
I don't remember
I
which one
forget
it
the
is.
name. It's okay.
But
It's the
yeah,
Formbot one. We'll go
but
with that. Or no, no, is
it's
it?
pretty. It has little white buckets
Yeah.
and everything. It's
Oh,
pretty sweet
T-Rex.
how it works.
T-Rex. We were just off
T
on
Rex, yes.
dinosaur. So that's the one that we've used, and it has a larger build plate.
And he says dual Z and
Mhm.
uh, the Easy
Easy AB.
ABL also he put on it. So
That's
so
such a
that's
mind
going to be
trick
a
for.
pretty nice little ender. I might do that ender single extrusion. I've been playing with a lot of the multicolor.
Yeah.
Actually, do you want to switch to? Or maybe I should switch my camera.
Yeah.
I'll, I'll I'll switch my camera to full screen 1 second here, and then
Okay.
I'll show you. As soon as I can switch it here, you can
Ten.
kind of see it in the background, but I want to
Yeah. Yeah.
actually.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. I got you. Um, but I mean, yeah, that the IDX kit. I mean, definitely cool, Vince. Good for you. Um, I I looked at it, but yeah, I just haven't pulled the trigger. It's not on my. If I were to do it, I would do it to CR10S. I think
okay, so hopefully no one gets motion sickness,
I'm already sick.
but I've been doing multicolor prints now on a few of my printers, giving them names. Ooh. So, and that advanced pause works really well to do multicolor prints. So I gotta say I really like it. And then I've been working with this is my Pi touchscreen. I've been working on Octodash and it works pretty good.
Yeah, I gotta get the Pi extension cable for myself and get that
I
rolling.
have the Pi extension cable. I just haven't installed it because I don't like where the Pi is right in the back of this, and I want it a little further away. So
Yeah,
anyway, so
yeah.
those are kind of some of the things that I've been kind of playing around with. I'll switch my camera back. One sec.
He's gonna switch his camera back. Boom. I'm back. He'll be back in a second. You should make how to Octodash. Yeah, we should. And you are right. We're gonna. It's actually not too hard. We're using the so expect to see that video uh, coming out
Yeah.
as a tutorial, but we are using the Big Tree Tech flavor of Octodash because you can get
Actually, I'm
Octodash.
not.
Greg's moved away. Okay, I'm using the Big Tree Tech one, um, which actually I'm not overly fond of, so I think I'm gonna go to regular Octodash.
So I had both. Um, they both work. You get a couple extra um, things that Octodash could add to theirs.
Hmm.
Like they had, you could manually change your Wi-Fi right from the screen in the Big Tree Tech version,
Yeah,
but
that.
the it's not doesn't seem as refined
Mm-mm.
as Octodash, and Octodash actually was easier to load.
Yeah, that was a
Um,
pain in the butt getting big
yeah,
trees on there.
it was it, and they used Octodash's source code to make theirs. So
Yeah,
they just it's
straight up clone, right?
it was a clone, and they could do a better job. I do think,
Yeah,
but
and
we will definitely do a full tutorial on getting that working, and you don't lose any of your Octoprint features. It's just nice to have the the interface available right at your printer.
mhm.
So it's pretty nice.
Basically picture your controller and replacing that with a Pi screen. I mean, um, yip
Marlin
yip,
VGL. I've
LVGL.
never seen that one.
Um,
I'll have to look it up.
the one thing that I will say too, sorry, I just remembered on Octodash is it, even though it has the interface for Wi-Fi, man, was that janky actually getting it onto a network through the Pi screen.
Right? It
Like
was. It was.
you'd
It was very. There's. It's almost painful.
you'd
So
click and click and click and click and you'd want to lose your mind.
yeah,
Um,
they need to refine that plugin or whatever it is that they added because it needs some work.
yep. And it's one of those things where they didn't even like trailblaze like the product from Big Tree Tech side. They just made a screen and then they were like, "Oh, yeah. Here's a screen." Okay.
Well, and it's a reasonable. If you want to add a touch screen to a Raspberry Pi
Mm,
for any kind of hobby project, whether you're making a little standalone computer or you want your own little media player or a Netflix player or whatever, whatever you want to do with it, um, it's a nice little screen.
yep.
There's no rocket science to set it up. You literally connect the ribbon cable and to the ribbon connector on the Pi, and
Poof
it
done.
works.
Yeah.
So
The
so
the
it's nice, and it works with all different Pis. Like I'm using it on a Pi 4, but if you have a Pi 3, it'll work. That sort of thing. So,
Yeah, and like the Marlin LVGL is literally like um it is the screen software basically on the MKS and it looks sick.
yeah,
I don't know if you
I'll have to do some digging on that one. I
yeah,
haven't played with
it
that.
it's
Uh,
super sharp compared to some other ones that I've had experience like
well, since we're
Octodash.
talking about screens,
Yeah.
we can go full screen for a second.
Okay, sending full screen to Greg, people. You've got the power.
So here is the new icon set that is available for the uh, Big Tree Tech screens. It looks a lot nicer. I'm going to have to find a better way of showing it off. Um, but yeah, it looks a lot nicer. It still has all the same functionality, but
Mhm.
they went to multicolor, roundish icons and whatnot. So it's quite a bit nicer than the previous one. So I will be doing an updated Big True Tech screens video going over the new icon set and how it looks and kind of the changes that have happened in the screens since my last video because they've really matured it. You can pretty much toggle everything through a config file now that's on the screen. So yeah, it's a lot nicer. You don't need to once you've got the firmware on there. You don't
Hey,
need to know VS Code. So
what screen was that, Greg? You
this one
by name.
this one here is the TFT 3.5 V2. This one actually came out of the Legend.
So that's yes, that's the Big Tree Tech
Yeah. So this one
3.5
doesn't have the
V2.
encoder wheel,
Yep.
and this one doesn't have the dual mode between the Marlin mode and the touchscreen mode.
Yeah.
Does have a giant SD card reader in it, and you
Yep.
can put an encoder on it, but that one does not have the encoder wheel. I do have some of the other models, and I was thinking of reaching out to Big Tree Tech and talking to them and see if they wanted
Mm.
us to show off any of their other screens or not. But I haven't
Haven't done it.
discussed that with you yet.
Yeah, well, I'm cool with everything usually. So the big tree tech screens are generally well received and good products. But the number one issue, concern, is like lots of people are like, okay, I've sent M600 to my printer to change filaments. How the heck do I get it to start again?
Well,
Right? Without the
um,
encoder wheel, you can't click yep. But they've
yeah,
let you
actually, well,
encode
with the touch
buttons
screen,
now.
with this touch screen, it has prompts that pop up now
Yeah, yeah,
that allow you
now.
to do that. So,
Earlier
so
it
the
didn't.
earlier versions didn't support that, but
Yep.
the newer versions do. So that's
It's
they've really been trying to keep up parity with everything else. We should probably go to split screen.
hold on. I like talking to Greg's big face though.
There, but
Big
other people
big
might
giant
want to
head.
see it too. So
um
yeah, they have a variety of screens. They went to some jumbo size screens
mhm,
and whatnot, but the functionality, from what I can tell, is the same. They have optimized the Marlin mode though, so whereas you would normally see the standard click wheel display with the
yeah, they
menus,
have like
they refined it a bit, so
enter keys.
it's a little nicer,
Yep.
a little more modern because it has more. You have more real estate on the screen, so they're optimizing it for the bigger real estate, but you can still
Definitely.
flip back and forth between modes. So yeah,
Yeah. And they're like, yeah, good product usually. A lot of the issues you see are the nut behind the wheel. So
it's true. This is true.
I shouldn't say you. People in general, the nut behind the
I,
wheel.
I don't know. I can be a nut behind the wheel.
Yeah, yeah, me too, me too. I'm pretty crazy most days, so um, no, that's good. It's the screens, the Octodash. The one thing just to add, like the Pi screen, and I don't know if this is true of all Pi screens, but the one from Big Tree Tech makes one heck of a Wi-Fi filter. Uh,
You
it
know,
can
it
bounce
did it
signals.
did when I ran it with a Pi 3, but it seems to work a lot better on the Pi 4.
Yeah, and like I might have to give that a try because I got a Pi 4 with Octoprint on it for some reason because something's missing that it was plugged into. But
What could that be, David?
oh well, we unboxed an Ender. If you guys remember on what was that, Wednesday, Tuesday?
Yeah, an Ender
a couple
V2.
of weeks. Yeah, the V2, and it went okay. Unboxed, got it built. Um, Overcame some shipping damage. Then that was okay. Then there was some errors with the motherboard, and at that point, I was not gonna play around with like, oh, I'll just troubleshoot this. And no, new printer should work out of the box, so it went back in a box and went back to where it came from. So there is no more Ender 3 V2 on my desk. Um,
Well, it's just one of those things. Sometimes you get a shoddy version, and what can you do?
I would
There's
not recommend it, right? Like I still think it's a solid printer. It's just this was a bad one,
yeah,
and I didn't need to do with or deal with like the warranty issues. No.
yeah.
So the so Greg and I before we ran the Big Tree Tech board stuff, we actually did run MKS for a long while.
I,
We never got into the MKS screens so much because those didn't exist in that time of our
well, no,
MKS
they did,
usage.
but
But
they were
not the
just
new ones, like with the new UI
well.
and
See,
stuff.
the new ones use the Big Tree Tech UI.
Well, but they also have the Marlin UI too, and that's kind of what
That
Vince brought
that's
up.
a MKS.
That's the old one. But yeah, so like that's, they work. There's a little jumper cable awesomeness coming back and forth
Yeah,
across.
I gotta say, I mean, we had lots of good discussions about how you could reduce or get rid of the jumper cables
Hmm.
and whatnot. And then, like a week after our nice little discussions,
Yeah.
all the SKR boards came out,
It's
and you
like,
don't need to jumper them anymore.
no, it's like we could make like a hat and then just plug this hat onto the board, and then it was like SKR. We're like, oh, okay, forget it.
Yeah, yeah.
Forget it.
So, someone smarter than us was already on the ball
Yeah.
and came up with a version that worked. And I got to say, having UART and SPI built onto the board and to toggle with just a couple jumpers,
Yeah.
that's
Ridiculous.
brilliant. Like that's
Yeah.
the way to go. No one should have to fuss with that. No one should have to fuss with pots anymore, adjusting voltages.
No.
It should all be you just go to your click wheel, adjust your voltage, set it, and done. Right? It should
Yeah.
be done with your screen. You don't need to, or terminal.
Well, and that's the same thing with firmware too, right? Like we are well past the stage. If the printer that you're looking at requires you to burn bootloaders and that stuff still, no. That's more work than you got to put in because like Creality has finally caught up, all of their boards save like the original loud enders still, like the original ender boards, like have burnt bootloaders, and most of them are getting to 32-bit now. So, I mean, if you're looking for a new board, never look at one that is like locked in. You can't turn UART on, right? Like Creality's 4.22.
I gotta say I'm rep rap curious. The way the duets and some of the other rep
Yeah.
rap clone boards work with basically you have all the features.
Yep.
There's everything's turned on or off via just a
A web.
toggle.
Yep.
You can do it either through a config file or through the web UI,
Yep.
and everything's at your fingertips. There's no now. I'm now comfortable compiling with VS Code
Yep.
and whatnot and troubleshooting it, and so that part maybe I'll miss once
Uh,
but
yeah,
I
yeah.
definitely want to try um, try that.
Yeah. So Vince, our good friend, asked, "How do you confirm configure, not confirm, configure TMC2225? It's not even in the driver list." You're right, it's not. But the 2225 is a standalone driver. There's no UART available for it. You can
I thought there
Nope,
was.
nope. You solder a pin. There's
Uh,
no UART available for that driver.
what
That's kind
what
of the
about the
idea.
2226?
I'm not sure about the 6. But the
Because there's
2225s are the same as, so if you're in firmware, we'll have to look that up. But if you're in your firmware trying to configure a 2225, you just use the 2208 in standalone.
oh, okay.
It's the same. I'm sure Marlin eventually will have like a 2225 in there, but like I'm sure the
What?
2225 is, yeah, it's I'm more than sure you just can use the 2228 or 2208 2208 in Marlin, and then that'll get you rolling in
I
standalone.
think the 2226 is equivalent to 2209, and they've just repackaged it in
Yeah,
the. So it's not. I don't remember the different packages. One's
paste it there. Oh, hello.
the new one, or the new, probably less expensive ones to package have the longer, narrow, skinnier ones.
Yeah. Um, I think you guys might want to throw up. Yeah, 22.8 standalone. Boom, bang. There you go. And then I'm sure Marlin in a version or two will come out. Vince.
Yeah, they'll probably just list it in there. Like it took them a while to kind of refine that area, but I mean, Trinamic seems to be coming out with um, more drivers and newer drivers,
Yep.
and I believe the whole idea of this new packaging is a cost reduction, so that they can sell more of them.
Well, like compared to the 2208s, uh, the 225s, they can actually handle a little more current. They are slightly cheaper, but right now, if you look on like Big Tree Tech Store, they're actually selling them for more, which is
Oh, that's
weird.
interesting.
Um, but yeah, so the stepper itself, it's simpler to run. There's less configuration. Um, the stealth mode, like I said, it's a solder pin and away you go.
Oh, I
But
wonder. I wonder if a guy needs to do a video on a roundup on the different stepper drivers currently available for
yeah,
the
we could.
market ones,
That
just to
sounds like
kind of, because right now it's kind of a dog's breakfast on, you don't know what's what with,
yeah,
because there's a 2208, 2209s. I mean, we're pretty comfortable with those, but now they're throwing these other ones in the mix, and I'm sure there's probably, you know 51 somethings coming out, or 52 somethings coming out, too, with different packaging that have the MOSFETs on the chip itself
yeah,
for the higher amp situations, and
for sure.
so yeah, I think that might be a good roundup or something to do.
Yeah, well, man, that can be even like a discussion platform, like for us, like this, but we'll have more information in front of us when we do it. Um, the
Vince
uh,
is asking about which ones work with S curve, jerk, and linear advance. I believe they all do,
yeah, the
as long
Marlin
as you
solved that
configure it
issue.
correctly.
Yeah, because
So,
there was that issue. So the
on
2208s in the past had a problem. I think it was with linear advance, and now they have fixed it in
no,
the
I think that
firmware.
was the 2209s when they
Ah,
first came
that's
out,
the
wasn't
nines,
it?
yeah. Yeah. My memory is foggy, but they all should
If you had
work.
linear advance on and baby stepping, things went badly wrong.
Terribly wrong. But not like blue smoke wrong. Just like
No, no, it just
blueprint
your
wrong.
your prints did weird things.
Truth. Um so yeah, that's the 2205s, no, 2225s. Why did they do that, Greg? They didn't keep a naming scheme, and now I got to think about it.
Well, they like alliterations, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah. Um so like you guys have followed us for a while on the old channel. If you are following, awesome. Subscribe, like, share the videos. You guys are amazing for doing all of that. Um, I wanted to share a few things with you um, that enhance your Octoprint experience. Now, right now, I just have my Android phone, but I will be showing another one. But I'm just gonna flip over to my screen share here, Greg. There we go. We did it. Yay! So on the Android phone, to control Octoprint. You know, we love our Octoprints. So on the Android phone, there is an app called Printoid, and then there's also one called oh dear, what's its name? What's its name, Greg? I forget. I
Uh,
forget. Octo dash. No. Octo something. One sec.
I don't remember.
I'll get the name. I'm on it, guys. Sorry. Octo remote. Remote. So it was Octo remote and Printoid are the two that I've been trying out, and I had the free version of Printoid when I first got my Android phone, and it was okay. But the free version really turned me off of the free version, and that's where I went to this guy. And this one's Octo Remote that I'm showing you here. And it gives you basically the same command screen, but picture that every column for your Octoprint is just separated into, so every tab is along the top, and it's just separated into its own organization base. So you have your terminal still. You can view your G code if it was actually printing, but this isn't printing right now because it's finished. You have a camera that sometimes works, sometimes it doesn't. So that's one thing to consider when you're looking at an app, is that all of the features, especially the camera, are working. For me, I would say 90% in the Octo Remote app work. So it really keeps it organized. This one is a little simpler, and I'll show you why in a second. So when we look, it gives me all my print files, and I can do all the Octo Remote things. So like there's the download buttons. Um, so we got download button, trash button. We can move it, copy it, and print it. Uh, it's pretty straightforward. This app is
Cool.
simple, and it's just like the interface of Octo Print. What's up?
That's pretty cool.
And that one, like I like that one. It's okay, and that one's free, y'all. Octo Remote is free, so this is why I turned to it to start with. Now this one is Printoid. Um, Printoid, not free, but you do get some other feature sets that you don't see in Octodash. It's a little harder to set up, honestly. If you know how to set up like your Octoprint stuff, you're gonna have a little bit of issue. But you can see here along the top of the app, it tells me which printer I'm connected to. And if you pop out to the side and have more printers, they start showing up along the top here. Um, and I've only configured my CR10S. This lock button in this app though, that I just clicked, so the little lock up here, once you start printing, hit it. Because if you're in your app on your CR10, and this happened to me, I flipped to this temperature tab on the bottom, or no. There's the control tab because I was still playing. I managed to turn the center line up to like 150 degrees. And all of a sudden I'm like, why is my bed so hot? Why did you quit printing, right? So, yeah, no, me too. I actually use no IP, and I have all my router stuff back through my network. And so I can actually see it remotely, and this app hooks to my no IP stuff. So, and again, when we look through the app, oops, see, gotta make sure it's locked. Lock it. When we look through the app, you can just swipe left or right or use the bottom buttons, but like you get your temperature graphs, your files, so they're both similar that way. But then here's where Printoid really shines. Printoid Hub. Now I had it open before, but so in Printoid Hub, if you have multiple printers, right now I just have one, but every printer gets one of these tabs.
Oh, okay.
So
So
you
you
can
can kind
actually
of
see
have
all your
a
printers.
summary of all your printers.
Yeah, which is like you know me, I've been wanting that for a while. I've programmed a few like websites. I've used that other one that you need to run on a web server inside, and it didn't really tickle my fancy. But this one, you can grab the camera view right from the app here, and then if it's just an overview tab, so it's like camera, you can do that. there's some settings, which is hide printoid.
Can you cancel from here?
From here, if you click it like I just did, so I just clicked the tab, it opens up printoid, and then you
Okay,
cancel it from there.
got it.
So the apps are linked. So like if you were to click it, it brings you to here, and then you have all your controls here, so you can't cancel it. So like those, so let's be roundup-ish clear. I think Printoid, even though, so it's a 8.99 app. I think Printoid is like the app of choice just because of the features you get, but the paid version. If you're if you're looking between like the free version or the not free version,
Right.
then definitely just go to Octo Remote. So that's my foyer. What is it? Foyer? I don't know the word I want. Foyer.
Your rabbit hole today for the
Yeah,
Troy?
for the Octo Print. And so to control it, it makes it super easy. I do use no IP address to configure local network to monitor from my phone elsewhere on Chrome. Yeah, and again, like Chrome, a web browser interface works. How many printers do you have, Vince? Just curious, how many printers you're rocking? Cause like I have five. I used to have six, but then something bad happened to the sixth and it went
I,
away.
and I'm running 6 right now.
Right. And so once you, like for me, there are times where all five of my printers are going quite often. And I just like to control them from one pane of glass. And that Printoid works so
What
good.
printers do you have? You said you had an Ender, right? That you're doing the IDX
Yep, the
on.
IDX, yeah.
Do you have more than one Ender, or do you have other ones?
Maybe. Um, five.
SC,
Yep.
SPC3D has 5.
Five. You see, it's like whenever
You
you ask that question, you never
you
get,
can't
yeah, I have one.
you never get one because you always want to be printing something else,
Right?
so you need more than one.
Two enders, a kangaroo cave. Oh, yeah, yeah. Yep. Big Q Magician. Oh man, that's old school. I don't even know if you can buy the Magician anymore.
Yeah.
But time goes on, and like Big Q printers change names so much. Is there a slicer that would run in Ubuntu on a Pi? Dominic, yes. You're not gonna like the answer. Too much? Actually, you might. You might love it. Um, Here, I'm just gonna go to my screen
I
share for a second.
I think you should be running a Pi 4 if you're going to do that though.
Yeah, you're gonna cook your pie. Actually, no, it's not that bad. So the Raspberry Pi 3 has always been able. Greg, look, Beta 3 today.
Hey!
I have Beta 2, and man. So anyway, the Raspberry Pi 3 can run Slick 3R quite well, right? But if you come to the Prusa Slicer, wow, I can't think of the names today, Greg. Download the app image for the Linux builds. It will run on the Pi.
Oh, interesting.
Um, the Kira, it cannot because I think there's a video driver problem. And Kira will definitely like if you threw that on your pie, you probably if you got some bacon and eggs like Greg got earlier and put your frying pan on top of your pie. Woof.
I yeah, I I still prefer slicing separately and then just dropping it to my pie,
Oh,
but
totally.
that's just me. And everyone, might have a good use case to do full Linux on a Pi. But if you're going to do that, I would get like a 2 or 4 gig
So
Pi 4
Dominic's
or
on a
something
Pi 4, yeah. He just commented
because
back, absolutely Pi 4.
yeah,
So he is
yeah,
on one.
and you can get a 64-bit Octoprint image and whatnot for Pi 4s now.
Yep.
Um, and I'm running it. It seems pretty stable.
Hmm.
So that will let you. You could even get an 8 gig Pi 4 if you But at that point, why wouldn't you just use a computer?
Well, yeah, because there's many computers in the same price point as that Pi 4. But
Yeah.
like, yeah, so like Prusa Slicer will work. I have used Kira in Linux, but not ARM. So I don't know that one for sure. Um, but Prusa Slicer should work because like 3R works and Prusa Slicer is a fork and yeah,
Well,
it's
Prusa officially purchased out
mm,
Slick 3R and brought their team over and just absorbed it. And so Prusa
yeah,
is the official replacement.
which was totally the right thing for them to do because once you get well, like you look at Kira and Prusa and Raise. When companies sell 3D printers and make slicers for those 3D printers, they actually make slicers. But if you're a company that, you know, is simplified per se, and all you do is make a slicer, apparently you can't release your next version on time, and you keep promising and promising and
3 years
promising.
later.
Yeah. Did get Octoprint on PC, display, mouse, keyboard. Huh? Did
I,
get
I, I,
Octoprint
I
on
just use
PC.
my PC as a PC and put apps like slicers on it, and then I leave Octoprint on each of my Pis. So each of my printers has a Pi. I have 3 Pi 4s and 1 Pi 3, all running Octoprint. I
Hmm.
will slice it, just drag and drop my whatever I've sliced, or I don't even have to drag and drop because
You just
normally
send
I
through the
have the
slicer.
plugin in Kira, or I have the printer configured in Prusa, so that you just hit slice and then you send it off to your printer right away.
Yeah, that's the one I usually end up doing nowadays. I used to like drag and drop the file, but like Prusa Slicer has the Octoprint plugin. Kira has the Octoprint plugin.
Yeah,
Just use the Octoprint plugin.
yeah,
It's
and
easy.
then you just throw the API key in and the IP address, and it's done. It's set up.
Yeah, and finally, you don't have to like pass user credentials either. There was a point in time where it was like, "What's your API key? Now, what's your username and password?" It's like, "Well, why did I just give you an API key?"
Yeah, so they've done a really good job. Uh, what is her name? Fuso?
Yeah, Fuso
Yeah,
Gina.
she's done a fabulous job with Octoprint, and I think if anyone throws some support her way, because I definitely want to see the development of Octoprint continue, because it is a rock solid product.
Hmm.
And I mean, she is the lead developer and this is her full-time job. So
Well,
you know
there you go.
throw any, buy her a coffee, do something.
Yeah,
I fully encourage that, because it's a worthy project for sure.
yeah, and I think she's the only programmer on Octoprint, and then
Um,
she's
well,
let the playground loose.
she's the lead. She's in charge of everything. It's her bread and butter. But there was actually, if anyone ever watches the Melt Zone podcast,
Melt
um,
zone.
they did an interview. Uh, Tom and Stefan did an interview with her, and they talked to her about Octoprint and whatnot. So if you want to learn a little more about how the development goes and whatnot, that's a really good episode to
Hmm.
watch if you're interested. So,
Um, I'm just gonna switch to the screen share here quick because I want to show two things. Two things. So the title of today's video was not clickbait. We are doing some very brief but important VS Code things. So VS Code, I'm sure we've all used it, probably if you've done firmware, but um, if you haven't, VS Code is basically a text editor IDE, which is integrated development environment that we can use. Come on, little guy, you can make it over there. That we can actually use to create firmware. The main engine that in VS Code, so the plugin we use is that Platform IO, and Platform IO is configurable in several ways. And then it's fairly straightforward. Um, Once you get Platform IO installed, I talk about this in another video, so I'm not going to go like, here's how you import a project and all that stuff right now, unless somebody really, really wants to see it. But I'm going to do this. I'm going to right click this one, and I'm going to remove folder from workspace, which will clear my old folders out. One thing with Platform IO is it does require Python, and this is kind of what I want to talk about for a second.
I
When
just
you
had to update my Python the other day.
And it's new again because I just installed my Python like 2 days ago, and it was 3.9, and now it's 3.91. Lame. But um, when you come for Python, you can go to their downloads page, and then you can see here that they have source code and releases for platforms. I'm on Windows, but you can pick Mac OS, Linux, it's all right here. There's some good documentation inside for Linux installs, so don't be afraid of getting the new version. But let's launch Python here, or the installer, and it looks like this. So, if you don't have Python, it does not say upgrade. It says install. If you do have Python, you can just upgrade, and then it will install it eventually. Now, on that first screen, if you are installing it for new, for brand new install, right where my mouse is, right in here, there's a button that says Add to Path for Windows. You have to click that. If you don't click it, you can add it to the path after, and the path is actually found by going into some advanced settings. Let's see if I can get there. System. And so I'm just going to find the path for us here once I can find system info, because apparently Windows did an update and removed that now, so the system doesn't go to where you
When you
want it
do
to.
a full install of VS Code and whatnot and
It doesn't
Platform
install
IO,
Python anymore.
it doesn't. It doesn't pop up and say you must install this.
It pops up and says you have to, but it takes you to this download page.
But yeah, yeah, and then you just
So,
continue through.
yeah,
Yeah.
so it'll prompt you. But when you're looking, so you have to go into your system info, and then you can get to system properties, and then the path that they're talking about is up here. So stuff in your path environment lets you just run it right from the command terminal level without having to reference folders, right? So you can add it here or up top, but definitely have to add it to your path, and that's what that button does for you. Um, and it's amazing. We should all use path. Um, the other thing I wanted to show you, I'm just going to let this run for a few more seconds here, but it should run itself out in a second. Is in the platform IO. There's a few options here. We can import or we can open, and those are probably the two that we're going to be using. For me, it's 6 of one, half and a dozen of another. The import button lets you pick a board, where the open project just opens it. I usually follow the open project. It
I
might,
normally do open and then I change my board manually.
yeah, and that's the one thing I was going to. We are good. You don't want to do this. Just leave. No, don't do that. Just click close. Okay. So open project. We might actually have to reboot VS Code now that it's installed the update. So let's just reboot VS Code. Now I have two versions of VS Code. One's the insider version and one is the regular version. Uh, they both work very well. So if you are a Windows like insider,
You're
you can,
brave.
yeah, you're brave, but you can also get some of the beta software, and that includes some of their games like Python or Minecraft. And but once we're in here, if you're not greeted with the PIO home like I wasn't, you can click the ant face and then click open, and it will launch the home for us. And then from here we can open a project, and then what we're gonna do, I'm gonna show you really quick too. This one, we're just gonna download the freshest version that we can of Marlin. So here's the newest release, and it is 2.0.7.2. So it's going to download, And then the other one we're going to grab is, so I click download on the main one. And if you were configuring a printer that is a popular printer, so almost all of them are in there now, actually. Enter any cubic. Well, and you can't take any cubic back.
except for the Macs.
Yeah, yeah. So that stuff's, yeah, except for the Mac. So you can click here, you can clone, you can download the zip. I download the zip, and then the first thing I do is actually I come into my Marlin folder, I extract it, which takes a little bit of a second. So I'm just hitting extract. It was on the other screen, but look, see, promise, here's the spinning wheels. And then the other one I will do as well is this configuration release, and I just extract it. Um, Now, the reason I do both of them at the same time is because they took the examples out of Marlin. Now, if I'm not using them, so for example, if, like Greg and I have configs that work for the Chiron, for SX4, my CR10 I built a custom one for, my Ender, right, the Legend, I have one for as well. If I have firmware that works, that's the one I bring forward. I don't look for examples. Um, Yes, the build Marlin extension still works. There's reasons I don't use it, but it does still work. So if you're using the auto build Marlin extension, it will work. How do you know which serial port to pick and enable second serial or not? So that's a good question, and the
It
answer is you have to read the pinout
it
of your board.
well, it also depends if you have screens connected or not.
It's true.
Um, because some boards, like let's say for Big Tree Tech SKR 1.3, if you have a screen connected, then you'll want to, uh, I think you do -1 for one and then 0 for the other.
Yep.
If you have one of the Anycubic boards, serial 3 is for the screen.
Yep.
So it really just depends on what board screen combo you're putting together. So you have to, as long as you know your hardware, there'll be a good example config of how to configure the screen correctly.
Yep.
Typically,
And the other thing too would be like if you're using Big Tree Tech or MKS, you can just bounce to their websites um, and look at like custom builds. So let's grab. So I'm in my Marlin 2 folder. I'm gonna click config, and then like usually in here, the config folder, that's where you would find like your examples, historically speaking. So what we can do, and what I like to do, is just put the config releases that I got right in that folder. Boop. And then it makes it feel like it's never changed. So nice. So nice. So in VsCode, and this is probably the one most important thing that I wanted to show today anyway, would be I'm gonna open a project. And then we're gonna look in the downloads. And no, it's not in there. Where are we? Let's go here. I just gotta find it, folk. Sorry. See, users download. Un momento. I'm just gonna find it because apparently I don't know where my downloads folder is. I'm really sorry, everybody. Open project.
yeah. So I mean, it works really well. I like VS Code, and I if you are looking to configure a screen on another system, typically if it's a more reputable company, they'll have a GitHub, and if you go up to the page for your screen on their site, they will tell you which code to modify in your Marlin to enable the appropriate screen for the right combination, kind of thing.
Yeah.
I was trying to get the screen that came with it's a D-Win screen that comes with the Macs going, and man, there's no documentation on the motherboard to let you know what pins to enable, how to get the serial connection to the screen working, and so that's the most frustrating thing when a company, in reality, they do put out detailed on some of their stuff, but most of their stuff they don't. Even though they're using Marlin and they're supposed to, they don't put it out. So
No.
they really hope that they start getting some of the full schematics and pinouts of their boards and whatnot, and or at least publish the source code for the Marlin that they put on the board, so
Truth.
that you can then use that as a reference.
Yep.
That's and that's just a courtesy. So I'll let you get back.
Okay, so BGTFG is yeah, I do believe so. Um, yeah. Anyway, so back on track. Choo choo. So yeah, Vince, I think your statement is correct. I can well, we can look it
Yeah.
up in a second. Hello, Lightspeed. What up?
Hey, like
So when you're in Marlin, we just basically I found my Marlin folder that I downloaded. You're grabbing platform any. Once you're in the folder that has platform any, platform IO any, you just hit open. Magic happens behind the scenes, and all of a sudden it's open. Now, this one is not ready to be compiled per se because it's just fresh Marlin, right? We just downloaded it. So there's a few things that we would want to do first, and right, and he said he was going to touch base. Hey, sweet man, sweet. We like to be touched base with.
cool. Yeah,
um,
we'll be more than happy to work with Slice.
yeah. So the knowing your board is the first part. So boards I or boards.h in the core folder. So that's Marlin source core. You can come through and you can get all your boards. Now it is separated. So like if you're looking for Creality, you can type the word Creality and it gives you all of the. Obviously, it's how search works. So I don't need to explain how a find works, but like it will give you all the instances of the word Creality, and you can go through and find your board. So for example, we're actually going to do the Creality, let's do 427 board. So let's say that we want to we're going to do this for an Ender V2 or a CR6. The Ender V2 or CR6, you can see here, uh, both boards kind of have the same extension number. So I'll grab my board and I'll pop into config and then we'll go way up. Uh, Use a little scroll thing on the side because, you know. Version, I'm not going to change a whole lot. We can leave that too. We can leave the boot screen, serial port. So here's where, if you have that configuration where you want to use serial 1 and 2 on those BTT and you want to get your screen working, that should do it. Uh, Make sure if you're using like a fancy new screen that this is set a lower, not to a higher baud rate, just because those screens don't communicate, it seems well, once you go higher.
Yeah, the big tree text like 115 200 or whatever. So
Yeah.
115,200, whatever it
So
is.
that's
So yeah, that works a lot better for those.
so
The -1, just so anyone, basically brings up an emulated serial port is what it does in Marlin. So you're not actually um, selecting a hard coded COM3 or COM2 on the board. You're actually doing an emulation of a serial port, which is a pretty nice implementation that Big Tree Tech did of that. So,
truth. Since we're doing this one for an ender, we'll just do 235 and 235, and our max position is like 250. And then I think these are all wrong. I'd have to look at my stuff. We'll just pretend they're right.
32-bit update. So it
The
depends on which board you want. The SKR, what is it? The SKR.
So the 1.4 turbo would be a good choice.
Yeah, but they have one that fully fits in there. It's the new mini. V3 or something.
It could be
Even
one.
it even has a fifth stepper if you wanted to do dual Z.
You mean the E3 2.0 Turbo or whatever?
No, it's 3.0, I think.
Oh, okay, yeah, yeah. We were just looking at it the other day. Honestly, the anything 1.3 SKR or higher will be fine. So SKR 1.3, SKR 1.4. The other thing would be those Ender boards will work as well. So you said it's the Ender 5 Pro. I don't think that the current board uses independent steppers, so I think it's still
No,
just using the 4, right?
yeah,
So
it's paired. That's one thing that bugs me about Creality is they always when if you have multiple Z, they put it or Z depending on what country you're in. Uh, they
well, you
put
said
them
it wrong to
all.
start with.
I know. That's why I corrected myself. Um, the the uh, the steppers are paired off of the single stepper driver, and in my mind, that's the wrong way to go. And I'm going to put out a video on the advantage of using multiple drivers to drive your Z steppers. So I'm going to put out a video on advanced Marlin configs with that, and so that'll be coming up. But yeah, so that's a pet peeve. There's a rant from me.
Yeah, I like rants. The one last thing, so I'm just gonna show here too. So I added what I wanted to add. We should have added more. I'm gonna hit build, and you can see here in my configuration file, something's not right. Okay, and do I care right now? No. What did I do? I hit build, and I can see I failed. The terminal process failed to run terminate, and it gives some information, right? But it shows like dependencies missing. Oh no, everything is wrong with the life. Undetermined, if not defined motherboard, right? Include boot share. Oh dear, the world was
Did you
falling.
miss your chipset in the platform INI?
Oh, why yes I did, Greg. So make sure that you come in here into our platform NEINI. Now the auto build should in theory fix it. In theory. In theory, it works okay. In practice, yeah. So anyway, we're gonna come in here. We know that we had the boards file before in our core, so let's look in core. And here's our Creality. So we're gonna look up this board. So I'm just copying that board at the end there, and then we're gonna pop back down to our platform mini, and we're gonna hit find, as most strong programs use. This one may seem like a good option, right? But let's just see what else we got going on. So there's the standard board with that processor. Then we have a big tree tech variant. So if we were using the SKR boards, that's probably where we go. Oh, we're building an Ender 3 and there's one that says Creality. Perhaps we should use this one. So make sure that you look through the whole file, see if there isn't a variant from the manufacturer in there, because that's the environment you'll want to use. So I'm just going to go back down. I copy the environment variable, and we go back up. And then right where we go build environment, we change this guy. Um, yeah, the E3 Turbo. Yeah, Turbo. That's the one we were, yeah, looking at the other day too. I knew we would get there. Okay, so then in here, we still have a warning. Let's see if we can find it. It's kind of annoying. Uh, uh. There we go. So we still get a failure, but I'm not too worried about it. If not defined, define motherboard. Define motherboard board Creality. It doesn't like my if not defined. So if we pop back into our downloads folder, because we're clever people, we can look at the original file here and just make sure that that line is correct. So I'll just open that in Notepad, and then we'll scroll down and we'll find if not defined motherboard. If not defined motherboard, yeah, see that looks okay. If not, aha! We didn't end our if. easy one. I should have known that. So we'll hit compile, and we should be happier. We're happier, so it'll go through. Now, the point I would like to make, and many of you have seen it and have asked in other videos, is when you see the little red squigglies, why are the red squigglies there? I want them to go away. They're not going away. Why do you just hit compile even though there's red squigglies? Well, so the red squiggly underline is platform or platform IO doing its best to parse the file to look for errors. It's not actually a compiler. When you hit this button, the compiler will go through and tell you if there are errors. And it's very, very important to go through and see if you have errors in your files. But so you can see here, error, serial port must be -1 from 1 to 5. Please update your config, right? So it's telling me exactly what I've done wrong here. So I could go back up and change that. But like, don't trust, moral of the story, don't trust the auto IntelliSense compiler. Hit compile, find the errors for yourself, and then go through. That's my moral of the story, and that's our VsCode spiel. What do we got? I am missing a driver for an SKR Pro. I want a second driver for dual Z working with dual Z min stop. Did you try the extension board, and is it hard to configure? The extension board is not hard to configure. I don't have one per se. Not even per se. I don't have one. It's not hard to configure because you're just using the port breakout. So if you actually look on the GitHub, on the Big Tree Tech GitHub, it gives you the port outs that you need to use, and then you can define them in pins. But that's kind of the quick answer, because folks, my tummy is grumbling.
And we gotta go. Is that what you're
Yeah,
saying?
it's time.
I I just want to ask Vince. So I think you need, if you have dual Z and you've got the IDX, I think you need 6 stepper drivers. Do you not? So is that why you're looking at the expansion?
Well,
Because if
because you
that's the
need
case,
2 on the
um,
IDX, right? And then
yeah. So
2x.
I'm thinking he could either
Let me
double
see.
pair off the Z so that it's on the same stepper driver, which I mean, Creality likes to do. I don't like it, but you could do that also as an option. But you may want to look at a board like more of a pro board, like the SKR Pro or something that has 6 steppers on it. Um,
Nah. Yeah, good on you.
yeah, I would recommend not doing that because if you don't if you have independent Z, you can do a G34 and true your gantry up to your build plate.
So if you have
So,
the Pro, Pro has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 steppers. Isn't that all you need?
oh, he has the Pro. Doesn't the Pro has 6 steppers?
Yeah,
So
that's. I was just
that should
wondering
do
what
it.
the. I'm missing a driver on the SKR Pro. I want a second driver for the Dual Z to work. Oh no, he would need 2 extruders. He's short one. He needs 7, right? Because he's got 2 on the X, 2 extruders, which is 4, 2 Z's, 6, 1 Y, 7.
Oh yeah. Okay.
We can count. We can
Math,
count.
math takes a little while sometimes.
Math is hard. Yeah, no. The breakout board isn't hard to configure by any means. Maybe we'll have to order one up, do a video on that too. That's a good topic. But basically, it just adds more ports off of the end. So
But
if you,
don't you take up your EXP ports?
yeah, so if you're using the
So if you
expansion
do
ports,
that,
yeah,
you'd have to have the touch screen then at that point,
yeah, yeah, because you'd lose those ports.
or
Um,
Octoprint.
yeah, why didn't we say that to start with? Octoprint. Um, but yeah, so oh, they even like Zev. Okay, yeah, those are discrete drivers. Yeah, okay. I was just looking at the board. I'm like, whoa. No, that would be something that we could go into, Vince, if you if you
Yeah,
want to see it, we can make a video. But
absolutely. Well,
yeah,
we are just after the hour here, and I know there's some other streams starting, and we should probably let David eat so he doesn't get grumpy.
yeah, or like
So,
forget things.
so thanks everyone for coming and chatting with us today. Nice to see you, Vince. Nice to see you, Hemi. Nice to see you, Lightspeed, and Dominic, and SPC. It was nice to see all of you. Hopefully, I didn't miss anyone. And just remember, like, subscribe, and I guess we'll see you next time.
Yeah, you guys are awesome. We'll catch you all later.